If you're enjoying this introduction to Revit, make sure you check out the full beginner to advanced level course on my website, s15studio.com. Now that we have our basic footprint of our building and internal walls, we're now going to be placing doors into our project. So doors are just another component available to us in the build panel of the architectural tab. So we just select the door tool in the build panel. And when we do that, loads up our contextual tab with the panel. So here we're able to load additional doors into the project. We can model one in place, and we can also apply a tag to the door when it's placed. I will cover tags in more detail later on. When we do activate our tag tool, our option bar then becomes available to us. So these options are for our tags. So we'll turn that off for now. Over to the properties palette, here we have our type selector. So we're given a series of door types preloaded into our project. We have two external doors. I can see that by doors EXT, and DBL stands for double. And below that we have doors INT, which is internal, and SGL for single. So the reason that we only get a few components loaded into our project is if we had all components loaded into our project all the time, it's going to slow our project down. So what we have available to us is the load family option. And in the load family option, we have all other components. So in there is where we have all other components available to us, where we can load them in when we need them. So I'm just going to cancel out of that. Going back to the type selector, I'm going to choose the door internal single 810 by 2110. So we'll select that. And as you'll see on my cursor, I have the warning symbol, so I can't place a door randomly into a project. A door must be placed in a wall. So when I hover over a wall, we'll see that the door then appears. So as we're placing an internal door, I want you to zoom in to our partitions, just using my scroll wheel. So with our door, when I hover over this internal wall, we get a preview of the door in position. So if I want the door to swing inwards or outwards, I just move my cursor from left to right, either side of the wall, and the door will change. If I hit the spacebar, it will flip to the other side. So before I even place my door in the wall, I'm able to make those changes. As well, you'll see the temporary dimensions are appearing. Again, I'm able to better position my door before I actually put it in place. So we have that option of doing that before we place it, but we also have the option of just placing the door and then coming back and making those changes. So I want my door swing to be on the inside and the swing on the opposite side of the door. And as well, I want my door to be 100 mil away from the wall. So when I see in the temporary dimensions that it's at 100 mil, one click of the mouse will place my door. So I'll just press escape to come out of the door command and just click the door again. So there's my temporary dimensions. It's 100 mil away from the adjoining wall, and there's the remaining dimension. As well, the architrave around the door is dynamic. It will adapt to any size wall, so we don't need to make changes there. As well, we have our flipping arrow, so we can still flip the swing to the other side and internally as well. So I want to place another door inside our room. This is here our bathroom. So I can select my door tool again. We'll stick with the 810 by 2110. And again, I'll hover over this room here. So one thing which is very useful, you'll see that the temporary dimensions is displaying 95 mil either side. So Revit will automatically try to center that door for me. and you can feel the mouse jump a little bit. So when it jumps into that position and we see that there's equal dimensions either side, we can click to place, and I can be confident that that door is now centered between these two walls. What we can do now for the next room is we can select it. I can then utilize my create similar tool, select, and then I can place my door again. So looking for the correct position, I want it to be 100 mil from the adjoining wall, pressing spacebar to flip it and click to place. And using the same 810 door, again, I will use the create similar tool and place into this room here. So before I place it, you'll notice that the architrave is inside the wall with the preview. And what you'll notice when I do click to place the door into the wall is the architrave expands out. The brickwork will return in on itself, and we have to do no further work to that door. And again, I'll select that door, create similar, and we have a small cupboard here. Well, I want to place a door, but we notice that the door is too big for that cupboard. So what we need to do is we need to make a new door with a smaller width. And how we do that, we will select our door tool. We will always start with the door that we want to copy and make smaller. So we'll stick with our 810. And once that door is the active door, we then go to edit type in the properties palette. So I'm in edit type. This will open up our type properties. So this is the type properties of this particular door. So this isn't the properties of the door we want to create. This is the properties for this door. So before we do any changes to make a new door, we have to duplicate. If we don't duplicate, we're going to edit the properties of this door, and all other doors in the project that use these properties will change. So the first thing we will do is duplicate. We can remove that too, and I'm going to rename it as a 610 by 2110. So the new name is 610 by 2110, and I'll press OK. So now we've duplicated the 810 to make a 610, but all we've done is renamed it. We have created a copy, but we've just renamed it. What we need to do now is to change the properties of that door to reflect those dimensions. So within the type parameters is where we will do that. And just to quickly gloss over these, we will cover this in more detail when we create our own door. What we have here on the left are the parameters. So there's the name of our parameters. And then to the right of that is the value of those parameters. So we change the value of the parameter. First one is the constraints. You see it's grayed out. And the reason it's grayed out is because we don't change the constraints. What we do is we change the dimensions, and then the constraints will update automatically. Next down is the construction. So here we will enter in that information about that door, which is where we will generate our BIM information. So all the information that we attach to the type properties, we can extract onto a schedule. So when we create our door schedules, all the information that we input into this door component can be extracted and put onto a schedule. So here it's just showing that the function of that door is interior. Next is the wall closure. So this sets the wrapping around the wall of that door. And we can set it to by host, neither interior, exterior, or both. We'll cover that further later on. Next is the construction type. So when we have various different types of construction, we can add that in here. Currently we have none set up, so we're not getting any options. Next down is the ironmongery. So this is referring to the door handles and hinges. So we can have that displayed or not. So next is the materials and finishes. And in question, it's the ironmongery, the frame, door, and architrave. So the materials and finishes would be the images that we see when we change over to realistic. So what color of the door, what material type, do we want it to display wood, a brass handle, this kind of thing. And what we do is we will create a particular material, and this is where we select it. We will cover materials later on. So once we create that material, this is where we then select it. Next down are the dimensions. What we're looking for is this parameter here, which is our width, and there's 810, and what we need to do is change that over to 610. And we'll see that our door panel width has also updated. So now we made our changes, we click apply and then OK. And you'll now see there's our door 610, and we can pop it into the cupboard room. So the door is centered itself, and we can flip the door to the other side. And we can then just pull that other door across. And the last door we're going to include will be the front door. So we'll come to our door tool, open up our type selector, and we see we do have an external door type, but it's just a plain double door. So what we need to do is go into our door library and bring a door from our library into our project. So we'll go to load family. I'm using the UK library. If this folder doesn't appear when you open the load family, then the file paths are not correct. So please go back to the beginning of the course where there is a video to show you how to fix that. So next we'll come down to doors. There we have external doors. And in here we have various different door types. So we can use these at the beginning, like I said. We can then create our own. Also, manufacturers will create their doors, and if you're using a particular door from a manufacturer, you can often email them and ask them for their Revit file. So it saves you having to recreate that door, and they will put in all of the correct data for that door. So first is door assembly single. So it has the entire assembly. There's a preview on the right hand side. So we have the main door and the side windows. We have a concept external door, which we will cover later. Then we have an external double door, some with louvers, some with transoms. When you have time by yourself, you're able to go through all these and then familiarize yourself with all the different door types. And what we're looking for today is the external single. So we have 14 different single doors. And the one I want to choose today is external single number 5. Once I select that, I press open. The door is then loaded into my type selector, and I then come over to where the door should sit. And how we know when the external door is facing the correct direction is the temporary dimensions are facing outside. If I go the opposite direction, you see the temporary dimensions are on the inside. I want the temporary dimensions to be on the outside. And once I find the center point, one click of the mouse and press escape. So what you'll notice differently about this door is we have a cavity closer. So all that information is built into this door already. So if you're not familiar with a wall setup of block insulation cavity brick, the cavity closer will just close off that cavity and the door frame will then attach to that. Same like the internal doors, we're able to flip it in, out, and the swing of the door as well. And once it is in position, we can still use the temporary dimensions to reposition that door to its final location.